Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're looking at something pretty specific, but I think it tells a much bigger story.
Absolutely.
We're talking about Megan Fox's appearance at the Jennifer's Body screening back on October 25th, 2025.
That nude corset ensemble.
Exactly. And we're treating it not just as, a dress, but more like a piece of embodied philosophy.
That's a great way to put it. It's complex.
Our mission today is really to understand how this one outfit, this custom gown, might actually be redefining modern ideas about feminine power, about sensuality, and even reclaiming difficult histories tied to clothing.
It really is like a conceptual roadmap, that dress. We're diving into the custom nude corset piece by LA designer Karine Gasparian.
Right.
And when people call it an embodied philosophy, they're serious. It's communicating some really big ideas through just fabric and structure.
Okay.
So yeah, we're going to unpack the architecture, the symbolism, and, the historical weight that's sort of woven into every single detail.
Okay, let's do that.
Uh-huh.
Let's unpack it. Where do we start? The foundation.
Yeah, the structure.
If you saw the look, and I'm sure many of you did, you'd immediately clock those core elements. Nude, strapless corset bodice. This flowing, sheer skirt.
And those red accents, can't miss those.
Definitely not. So let's start with that architectural foundation, that sculptural silhouette that just screams haute couture precision.
Well, what's immediately striking, I think, is the technical achievement of that strapless corset bodice. For those of us not, deep in fashion engineering, this is a huge design challenge. You need what sources call an extraordinary level of precision engineering.
Right, to make it look effortless.
Exactly. Effortless, almost weightless, but it has to defy gravity, support the body, stay perfectly fitted. Often using hidden structure, specialized boning, precise tension.
All hidden away, usually.
Usually. Yeah. And that demand for perfect structure, that's really the hallmark of high couture.
And then what Gasparian does next is, well, feels kind of brilliant. She takes that hidden structure, that essential framework.
He makes it the star.
Yeah. Because historically, the corset's architecture, the boning and all that, it was meant to be concealed, right? It was the secret architecture of control, hidden under layers of fabric.
Totally. But Gasparian just flips that whole idea. The boning, the ribs of the garment, its skeleton, she renders it in this vivid crimson red.
So it pops.
And makes it completely visible. So by doing that, the designer transforms that infrastructure, that tool of restriction, into celebrated ornamentation. It becomes functional beauty.
Wow.
It's like an explicit statement saying, look, I'm wearing the mechanism of control, and I'm choosing to show it off to celebrate its strength.
That is a powerful reversal. And then you add in the choice of the nude fabric itself. That's not just about color, is it?
No, not at all. It's a conceptual tool. That nude palette is key because it creates this visual continuity between the skin and the garment.
Ah, okay.
The goal is what fashion theorists call seamless body-garment integration. The fabric feels less like a separate thing you put on.
More like a second skin.
Exactly. A second structured skin. And that lets those crimson architectural lines look almost like they're tattooed onto the body, emphasizing the form, not hiding it.
So the body and the structure become one unified piece, communicating together. Okay, that gives us the architectural context. But structure needs a story.
And that's where the blood drops come in.
Right. We have to talk about that. This is where we shift into those shocking, almost visceral conceptual details.
Yeah, this is where it moves from just architecture to narrative design. We're talking about that crimson beadwork. Carefully arranged to look like blood droplets cascading over the chest, down the sheer tulle skirt, and then there's the matching red choker.
It ties it all together.
It creates this deliberate symbolic ecosystem. There are themes of, violence, injury, but also power all mixed together.
And the timing, the location wearing this to a screening of Jennifer's Body, that film. It took a while, but it's finally being seen as this really powerful, complex feminist text.
About trauma, violation.
And ultimately, retribution against male predation. The dress and the film, they really feed each other.
Oh, absolutely. That blood imagery. It's not random. It's a direct visual link to Jennifer Check's character arc in the film.
So Fox is using the fashion to comment on the film and maybe her experience with it?
Exactly. Sources are calling it narrative reclamation. She's controlling the symbolic meaning of how she presents herself. She's actively wearing symbols tied to violence, pain, but reframing them as symbols of ultimate power.
Turning victimhood into strength, visually.
Precisely.
Okay, so this moves into what some analysts are calling transgressive aesthetics, right? It's not just pretty decoration.
Not at all. It's deliberately bringing in elements that are coded as disruptive, maybe even dangerous.
Yeah.
Think about the historical taboos around the female body.
Specifically blood, menstruation, things that were meant to be hidden.
That's the crucial historical link. Historically, especially in high fashion or high society, women were expected to appear pristine, almost sterile. Definitely not messy or bodily.
Right. Fashion was meant to conceal or flatten those realities.
Yes. So by using imagery that evokes blood, trauma, and even subtly referencing menstruation, the design just throws down a challenge to that entire convention.
It's saying those parts of the female experience won't be domesticated anymore.
It's asserting that the authentic, complex, sometimes disruptive parts have to be acknowledged.
I love that. Yeah. Wearing the structure of control as decoration, wearing the symbols of disruption as ornament. But I have to ask, isn't a corset still? Oh, a corset. Isn't it inherently restrictive, highly sexualized? Is this really liberation or just making control look cool?
That's the absolute core question, isn't it? And to really get the weight of this modern statement, we have to look back. We need the before, the historical role of the corset.
Okay.
During the Victorian era, it truly was an instrument of physical repression. We can't downplay that.
Yeah, and we need to give that context real weight. It wasn't just mild discomfort. We're talking tight lacing causing serious health issues.
Like restricted breathing, displaced organs.
Skeletal deformities even. All to chase this artificial silhouette, often defined by men. The constraint was physical. It was enforced.
It was literally a tool to reduce a woman's physical capacity, her movement, her activity. It reinforced dependency.
So how did we get from that to this?
Well, the shift, the kind of watershed moment for reclaiming it, started happening in the late 20th century. You had designers like Vivienne Westwood, Jean-Paul Gaultier. They started taking this garment of repression.
And putting it on the outside.
Exactly.
And the image everyone knows, the sort of visual shorthand for that shift, has to be Madonna. The cone bra. 1990 Blonde Ambition tour.
Absolutely iconic. That look didn't get rid of the structure, but it completely flipped the perception. It went from hidden constraint to visible armor, a symbol of female power.
Okay, so that's the turning point.
That's the huge change. It went from something done to a woman to something intentionally worn by a woman to construct her own image, her own power.
And Gasparian's design fits into that trajectory.
It continues it, absolutely. By merging that architectural strength, making it visible with the body itself. The precision isn't about being squeezed into someone else's ideal anymore.
It's more like a tool the wearer uses.
An instrument for women to actively construct and control their embodied presence, their power.
And it's not just a one-off, right? This is part of a bigger trend.
Definitely. Our sources point to other designers, like Tiara Doty, whose 2025 collections are explicitly framing the corset as celebrating strength, play, and sensuality.
So the modern use is seen as fashion as performance.
Exactly. It's about agency, confidence, choosing the structure you want to present to the world.
And the materials must be different now too, right? We're not talking whalebone.
Oh, absolutely not. That's a key part of the shift. Modern corsetry uses lightweight, synthetic boning, flexible materials, internal gripping tech. It's engineered differently.
So it's the difference between being physically forced into a shape versus using modern tech to comfortably hold and define the shape you choose.
Precisely. Comfort and choice are central now.
Okay, that discussion of comfort and choice leads perfectly into the last big element we need to talk about. That contrast between the rigid top and the flowing bottom.
Yes, the lower half is so important. You've got the precise architectural corset bodice.
Paired with that fluid, almost ethereal, gossamer, sheer tulle skirt. And the slit.
That dramatic thigh-high slit, yeah. That intentional tension, that juxtaposition, is being analyzed as a visual metaphor for the modern condition.
How so?
You've got control and precision living right alongside fluidity and, well, a kind of vulnerability.
Okay, let's talk about that vulnerability. The transparency trend, it's massive in 2025 couture. But it's tricky, isn't it? How is it not just objectification?
That's the crucial distinction to make. It's vital to understand what it isn't. It's not objectification in the sense of, unrestricted viewing or exposure without the wearer's control.
Okay.
Our sources are very specific. They define this as controlled vulnerability.
Controlled vulnerability. Okay, what does that mean in practice?
Think of it less like being accidentally exposed and more like holding a sheer curtain. The wearer is letting light through, showing an outline, maybe more.
But she's the one holding the curtain.
Exactly. She determines how sheer it is, where the focus goes, the whole context of the reveal. It's about choice.
That makes so much more sense. So the wearer decides the extent, the context. Transparency becomes a tool of agency.
Precisely. The tool's selective revelation, as they call it, it challenges that old binary argument.
The idea that women had to choose.
Yeah.
Either be modest and protected or be sensual and exposed.
Exactly. This outfit says you can have intentional structure, bold symbolism that might be seen as disruptive, and controlled revelation all at the same time.
The sheerness gives it fluidity, femininity.
While the architectural bodice keeps the wearer grounded, powerful, structure.
So if we pull all these different threads together, the architecture, the symbolism, the history, the transparency, what's the main takeaway for you, the listener?
I think Megan Fox's ensemble is maybe the perfect example of how 2025 fashion is successfully arguing that sensuality is completely compatible with power and agency.
It's unapologetic femininity.
Yeah. Rejecting that old historical lie that you couldn't be sensual and respectable or powerful, that they were opposites.
So this deep dive really shows how one single piece of clothing, custom couture, can act like a lens.
Yeah, a lens to analyze these really complex cultural narratives about gender, history, self-control. The designer is literally translating big political and personal ideas into something you can wear.
And just as we wrap up, let's circle back to something Fox herself said at that screening. She mentioned that the experience of making Jennifer's Body a film about trauma and transformation was very healing for her. So if high fashion can actually weave together personal history, a powerful movie narrative, and this kind of historical reclamation all into one garment, does that mean fashion might be one of the most powerful ways we have to publicly redefine our own past, our traumas, and claim our future agency?
It really suggests that what we choose to wear, it's fundamentally a choice about the story we're telling about ourselves. It's personal style as performance art, maybe.
Designed for self-empowerment.
Yeah.
So, maybe something to think about. What narratives are you choosing to wear? Consider the weight and meaning behind your own style choices. We'll leave you with that thought until our next deep dive.